About 30,000 years ago, the first humans walked this planet. We were unremarkable medium-sized mammals with no extraordinary speed or strength, lacking claws, wings, and sharp teeth. We weren't even the most intelligent animals, as there were other large-brained mammals out there among us. However, one thing set us apart from them: the ability to cooperate with one another.
At the heart of our ability to cooperate is empathy, our ability to share and understand the feelings of those around us. The benefits sprouting from empathy range from our ability to form long-lasting relationships to the enhancement of our neural integration and immune systems. Yet despite all the benefit it reaps, empathy is often absent when we truly need it the most.
Throughout the past years, studies have shown that the average American today is much less empathetic than the average American was 30 years ago. As this number continues to increase, our country continuously becomes more divided. This is because of the direct relationship between unity and empathy. However, because of these unprecedented times following the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, we have been forced to meet irregularly, communicating only through online spaces.
This increased isolation in animosity, privilege, outrage, and allowed cruelty to go unpunished. We have inhibited our ability to humanize the strangers we interact with online, and have allowed ourselves to only view them as groups and ideas with fear and hate. Social media has become a battleground for individuals to attack each other's political affiliations, racial views, and sexual orientation. In the midst of all the hateful comments, we often forget that there is a person on the other side of the screen, a person who shares an ability to love, fear, and be heard.
It is important that we see through our prejudice and recognize the humanity in the person in front of us. This is not to say that we must compromise our beliefs for them, but only to realize that despite being raised to think differently, they are also sharing in the same emotions that we experience.
This concept is captured perfectly in Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a 19th century novel about a young boy who finds himself alone on an island with Jim, a runaway slave trying to escape being sold away from his family.
While Huck seems to be a good kid, the social order in which he was brought up in taught him to dehumanize Jim, treating him more as property rather than as another human being. However, Jim's humanity forces Huck to help him so that he can gain his freedom and the freedom of his wife and kids.
Now it's important for you to realize that Huck genuinely believes that helping the slave would lead to condemnation, and that he has been with the little long enough where hell is a real place for him. But the empathy that Huck has found towards Jim has not changed his beliefs, but rather has given him the strength to look past such facts and still help him.
The genius behind this novel goes far beyond it being one of the greatest anti-slavery novels in American history, as it sets up the ideal conditions in which empathy could flourish. It is only when Jim and Huck are isolated on a raft or in an island that they can truly come to terms with each other's emotions.
And this speaks to the nature of our society, that sometimes it takes being away from the prying eyes of civilization and the expectation of their social order to truly put down our guard and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, even with those we profoundly disagree with.
Stop. The age of social media has made it drastically more difficult for us to communicate with our fellow citizens. This means that on the few occasions that we communicate with our fellow citizens, we choose who we want to communicate with. It's very unlikely that society would want to choose somebody who has opposing viewpoints to talk with.
Perhaps if we were placed in situations such as the one Mark Twain placed with characters in, we find that we are not so different from those we disagree with. However, the situations are unlikely to occur, but that should not discourage us from putting down our walls and making an attempt to understand the emotions and experiences of the people around us, such as Huck did with Jim.
We leave you tonight with a quote from The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. "Well, it made me sick to see it," he says, "and I was sorry for them poor pitiful rascals. It seemed like I could never feel any hardness against them in the world. Human beings can be awful cruel to one another."
So let's make an effort to undo the cruelty that Huck saw between us and form lifelong bonds through empathy and understanding.
Yeah!